So, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self Development with Tactics fucking podcast, and I still have my smartphone on quite not do not disturb, and this is very, very important that I do turn do not disturb on, because if it isn't on, you can definitely then hear some notification sounds, which is definitely something that I do not want you to hear, because this would be fucking annoying, especially when you're listening to the podcast. But because we have finished the other two books that we were going through the last two times, or quite the last time actually, because yesterday I actually kinda posted both videos, because I do have the time. I didn't have as much school as normally, so therefore I was just like, okay, I'm gonna record two episodes because of the time, and because, yeah, why not? And now I'm perfectly quiet in time, and we are going to discuss Trust Me, I'm Lying by Ryan Holiday. It's a marketing book, and it is something that I'm not quite sure if I actually want to go through it, because it is something about kind of suggesting you not to be nice and deceiving others, and all these things that I normally do not suggest. The thing is, why I'm just still thinking that I'm going through this one, or I might just even stop during the whole thing. This could also be true. First of all, because it's a marketing book, and therefore I will just tell you what I think is just some kind of good or some kind of not good, at my point of view at least, and what not. And also the thing is that this book is quite pretty much chaptered into two sections, quite. So the first chapter is about, I think, is quite the bad side, and or quite the actual tactics and strategies and what you could do. And on the other half of the book, I think it's a half way. On the other half, there's actually the consequences that you can be just having if you just do what he's saying. So yeah, I think I will go through it. I'm not quite sure. I do just have this some kind of gut feeling that I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite feeling that I shouldn't do it. This is not the case, but I do just feel that it is somehow kind of difficult. But let's see. So Trust Me, I'm Lying is an eye-opening book about how the modern media operates, the economics that drive it, and how the system can be manipulated. Author Ryan Holiday details how he himself manipulated the media by bribing, actually, by bribing bloggers, writing their stories, pretending to be other people, and defacing his own advertisement to get the media writing the stories he wanted. What is defacing? Oh, it's defacing actually. This really kind of small summary just kind of turned me to not actually going through this, because this is all something that's so negative and that suggests to you doing negative stuff, which is definitely something that I do not want you to do. I just deeply believe in being nice, being empathetic, being just the best version of yourself, and also in terms of being social to others, not fucking with them, not judging them, and so on and so on. And this is just the complete opposite and the complete negative part of the world, quite. But so the introduction. Who is the summary for? And this book is ideal for anyone working or wanting to get involved in the marketing and media world. Trust Me, I'm Lying is an eye-opening book about how the modern media operates, the economics that drives it, and how the system can be manipulated. Blah 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 blah, blah 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 blah. This is quite the rest that from the bath section as well. About the author. Ryan Holiday considers himself a writer and media strategist, whatever. With 6 books under his belt and an extreme successful blog, Ryan has covered a lot of topics surrounding personal and business development. He has a passion for philosophy and stoicism, as well as marketing, business, success, marketing, again, I don't know why, self-awareness and learning. Author of multiple successful books, including The Obstacle is the Way, which is actually a book that I've gone through. So therefore, as I'm quite thinking about it, I think he himself isn't quite a person that is, very negative or very, such a person I would just tell you, okay, you shouldn't be like this. Therefore, I will just go through it. If I don't like it, I will immediately stop. This is the same thing, what I did with the 48 Laws of Power, which has a quite interesting connection with this author, because he's also the author of Ego is the Enemy and Growth Hacking Marketing, which was actually a book that I thought about going through as well, because I thought this is something pretty interesting, but I do think that I've actually gone through it before. So therefore I decided, okay, I will just, search for another book summary, and therefore I just took this one. And I'm actually, before I forget to mention, I'm on the paulminus.com website. So if you're willing to go through the summary yourself and maybe be a little bit faster, then I will just really invite you to go through it. You can definitely learn from it. It is, on the other hand, just not really a replacement for the real books or just the full book. Is always something different, always something that you can learn way more from than just going through such a summary. And Ryan studied under Robert Greene, which is the author of the 48 Laws of Power, which is actually one of the only books I think this is actually the only book I really didn't want to go through because I didn't like it. Mindset is also a book I didn't go through. I think maybe I have, I do not know, I would just have to look it up, but it was because it was too complicated for me, and I felt like this is not something that could contribute you and could contribute myself. I still just really want to invite you to just go through the summary yourself, I think, or it might be even on the paulminus.com website. If not, then go to the powermoves.com website, which is also a book summary site that I've been on quite for a long time, but because they do have such an quite mechanism that you can't just view their content over and over and over again, because they then just say, okay, please sign up for our service, please sign up for our website, and then you can actually go through all of the summaries we just have, which was something that I do not want, and therefore I searched for something else. So Ryan studied under Robert Greene, the author of the 48 Laws of Power, and credits a lot of his success and strategies to Greene, which was then, on the other hand, also one point that I, said, okay, I didn't like the 48 Laws of Power because all of them just seem to be quite, the very opposite that I'm just always suggesting to people. And therefore, it's quite interesting, but the next sentence just really breaks everything up again, and therefore I've actually decided to go through it. So in the summary, Ryan has broken up his book into two sections. The first section explains some of the key tactics that Ryan used to decipher people to write only what he wants them promoting his own brands. We will briefly summarize the 9 tips ranging from writing killer headlines to sharing socially. The second section is the needed alternative component to the first section, where Ryan shares some of the consequences that can occur when actions from his first section are taken. So make sure you read both sections to get the whole picture. And this is actually the thing, or the very, very point that I just then decided to go through it, because he actually points out, okay, maybe there are consequences, you can get through just making what's kind of named, or kind of just what's kind of standing in the first section. So therefore, So the actual book summary: and a media monster. Ryan describes modern media as a monster that is striking fear into the public domain, spreading lies and creating controversy, all in the name of generating page views and income. Media manipulators like Ryan are able to feed the monster and control the content it produces. Ryan explains that the whole economy has shifted since modern-day media has taken over the online world. Money simply isn't made in the same way anymore. Now you can generate income based on how many people visit your page or individual impressions. Bloggers are under a huge amount of pressure to create as much content as possible, bringing more and more people to the pages and therefore generating income. Ryan explains that on the flip side, the pressure to create often results in lower quality content, and there is no passion or thought going into each post. Sorry, I just stuck. The motivation is all about page views, controversial titles, leaking confidential documentations, or just straight up lying, or just a few of the tactics used. Advertisers hold the power to manipulate smaller blogs and influence what is published, getting the name out there in the way they want. And this is, I think, one of the summaries of modern day media that could you just really put into a negative or just look at it in a negative or positive side. Or way, actually. So the negative is definitely what he points out. Modern media rules everything, which is, I think, nothing that's too bad, because if it was only the state and or the police, they could just do whatever they want, or just all the companies could do whatever they want. But because they are media, somehow the media is just ruling a lot of the economics and a lot of the industries, and therefore the media has a lot of power. And this power really just kind of also leads to companies not doing so much shit than they would be doing without the media, at my point of view. I hope I just explain it in a proper way, and I hope you get my point. But you can also look at all these points on a very, very positive way, or positive way of thinking, because the actual thing that the internet and social media and all the blog making and whatever just really brought to us is the ability to make money through the things you're liking. And it doesn't have to be like, okay, you have low quality content, because this is actually always, I'm sorry. I had just to close my window because I thought there are some noises coming from there, and this is not something that I want in my podcast and or YouTube video, or podcast episode and or YouTube video. But this just really brought us the opportunity to really just generate money and generate income for everybody. So everybody is just possible, or everybody is just able to do this through just actually doing things we actually like. And quality is definitely a thing that is subjective, and therefore just looking at quality and being like, if you just do more and more and more, your quality goes down. Not necessarily, because the thing is, quality is something that's very subjective. Only because you think this is a low quality product doesn't actually mean that all the other people who are actually seeing your product or actually are your target audience say, okay, this is a bad product. But, I think if they do so, which is totally a thing that, might come up, you definitely have to change something in your day-to-day life or in your schedule. You're just, producing your content, so therefore generating something else. Or maybe it's even not about just the way it looks or how good the summary is, if you're making a book summary site or whatever. Maybe it's just, it's just a topic your target audience isn't quite interested in. Yeah, okay, you can totally be like, okay, this kind of also falls under the category of pretty much quality, because you then haven't made, the proper research to actually know, okay, this is something my target audience wants, and so on and so on. But at the end, and this is also something that Gary Vee is always kind of just teaching and spitting out, is that quality is something very subjective, and therefore going on quantity is, a good way, especially, at my point of view also, in nowadays life and in nowadays media and social media, because there is so much content. And I'm actually producing 10 fucking posts on 3 sites every single day. Why I do this? Because I believe in that the quality, I still look on the quality, that I'm not posting any fucking shit. The thing is, I understood that by putting out Can you hear me? Now you can hear me. I'm actually able to really just reach more people, help more people, serve more people with the things that I'm producing. And, this is just the thing. With more content, you're able to just reach more people, get more impressions, and so on and so on. And maybe even the chances are higher that you're actually producing something that's going viral. And, this is quite everything a modern day marketer wants to have, I think. But yeah, this is also definitely, could also definitely be seen on a negative side and or on a positive side as well. But I think he's just some kind of neutral about this. So he's not saying like, media is something like talking about media in a negative way. Yeah, but I do not actually think this is something negative. That's, the thing that we are having today with the media. The part 1, the tactics, and I do just have to check my messages, because I just got called there, which is definitely always just really difficult when I'm recording, because I actually feel like, okay, I should maybe just call them back, or I should just actually just accept the call or whatever. But on the other side, it would take just so much time to pretty much then cut and or edit the video, and this would just fuck other people in my life as well, because I do not have that much time for them afterwards, and so on and so on and so on. This is just something that's so complicated. It's just so complicated structure. But yeah, so part 1, the tactics. In this section of the book, Ryan outlines the tactics he used for deciphering bloggers and publishers to get them to write what he wants or promote his brands. Warning, these techniques are not necessarily encouraged, but Ryan illustrates what he has found to be most successful when it comes to manipulating the media. And I think this is something, actually, I could actually go through just some bad examples of things that I actually wouldn't suggest, because I then would just always say, okay, this is not something that's true, I would do it in this and that way and whatever. So therefore, you will just get the proper information, at my point of view at least, anyways. So the thing is, I could also go through the 48 laws of power, but I think there is so much shit in it, and I actually just am very, very glad that the author of this book and book summary just included the way he pretty much writes, and that he also says, okay, this is something that you shouldn't necessarily do, because it's something maybe because of ethics that's not pretty much. I'm sorry, I got called. I hope you didn't hear this, or you're not hearing this. If yes, I'm very, very sorry. So help pay bloggers bills. So when a blog is starting, there is no steady flow of page views. This becomes their goal. Any profit they are going to make is going to come from these impressions. All bloggers want to do is to increase their audience and be able to reach larger publishers. Help them out in the early stages, and they will be appreciative of any freebies and advice. Ryan explains that by being there in the early stages, they will remember your generosity, and this may just work in your favor when they've taken off and have an influential voice. This is definitely true, but the thing is, they should, at my point of view, never give with expectations. This is just the point. At my point of view, you should always be giving because you're nice, because you're a nice person, because you just want to put people on. Should be actually the reason why you just do things for people. But I do not say that you should not calculate things for the future. If you're like, okay, I am just getting into this relationship, in terms of business relationship, because you hope that you can give them something and you get something out of it, I think it's somewhat okay. This is the line is very, very thin, and this is pretty much a problem, because then if the line is pretty thin between kind of just being a fucked up person and just doing normal shit that's totally fine, it's complicated. But what do you say? This is always just a good thing, that I can always ask you what you are thinking about these certain things. And this is just also the incredible thing about the podcast. We have quite 4 or 5, just thoughts. We have the thought of the author of the book, then the author of the summary, then me, and then you as well. Just this is, so much thoughts and so much to think about. That is just incredible. But let's go to WhatsApp. I do just have to check if this certain person is just texting me something, so that I can reach out to this person and just tell them, okay, there's not much time now, but I could just really call you back in quite 10 minutes. Yeah. So, so this is definitely something that I wouldn't do as such a thing. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be good, it just has to be shared, or it just has to be shareable. Ryan's rule of thumb is that if something is not worthwhile of social sharing, there is little point in publishing. If people aren't going to feel passionate about your content enough to share it on the Facebook page or talk about it in public media, then there is a little point. Ryan emphasizes the importance of sharing content that can evoke strong emotions such as anger and passion, and more often that than not being controversial is. And more often than not, being controversial is key. And this is actually a thing that I wouldn't say you should do, but this is definitely the case. If you're controversial, you will definitely get the attention, you will definitely get the views and whatever. It always is important to just, look for the topic you're being controversial about, and or just, what niche you're in. If you're controversial in my niche, which is basically, the self-development niche, or just the business niche, or whatever you want to call it, and then you'd be like, okay, which is also something that I emphasize actually, okay, books are actually not the only thing you can go through to just get knowledge. This is something that's controversial in this niche. And this is definitely something that really gets attention, that gets people's mind, and that maybe even people are pissed about. But that's, I think, totally fine. I'm not saying that you should actually doing this just very consciously. Just being like, okay, I want to do something that pisses people on. Never do this, especially not if it's your target audience. Pissing some other people off will definitely appear. This is definitely a situation that will come up. This is definitely something that just will happen because, there are so many human beings aside that are actually talking about shit and or just complaining about stupid shit. And, this is something that I quite, unfortunately, get to know every single day through social media when I'm actually going through other people's comments, which is actually just a tragedy. I think, all these people are probably in the first world country, not all of them probably, but a lot of them, but therefore they shouldn't complain about stupid shit that maybe people are getting something wrong, or they're saying something not in their way that they actually complain about, and type in the comments, this is fucking shit, and judge, and whatever they do. I don't know, this is something that quite pisses me off. But in terms of emotions, anger, and passion, and these things, this is actually what modern day marketing is like. We are not marketing a product because it works. We are not marketing a product because it's the newest one. Yeah, maybe, but the thing is, most of the time we're actually just kind of marketing feelings. If it's anger, if it's passions, just, very strong emotions like love and, being appreciated by others, or having high status. These are just, really the things that we are quite marketing right now. And I think this is totally something that you can see in every perfume advertisement, in terms of, a video advertisement. Totally. Why? Because, you can definitely just see, just a very strong man or very beautiful woman that are just, spraying this kind of perfume on them, and they're just feeling then so incredible, and they're so beautiful and whatever. And the thing is, we just associate the beautifulness or the strongness of, if it's even a word, I don't know, the strongness or the strong or beautiful people with the perfume. So therefore, we just think, okay, if I just use this perfume, and it sounds very dumb if I explain it, but we just think, okay, if I just use this perfume, I will be such a person as well. And I will just have the feeling of being so beautiful as well, or the feeling of being so strong as well, or having the status and feeling like, okay, I'm the best, or just having fun, like, in every single Coca-Cola advertisement. Everybody is having fun because of Coca-Cola. And everyone is, do you know the fucking meme where everybody's just kind of laughing at their fucking salads? I kind of think that's pretty funny, because it's actually true, in all the advertisements, all the people are smiling at some shit. I understand it in the Coca-Cola just advertisements. It's not that bad, but in terms of the memes, it's quite actually pretty funny. So if it's not going to get shared socially, it may as well not exist. This is something, first of all, the point where he started out is something like, because the thing is, you will never know unless you're a very, 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 very fucking good marketer, in my point of view, or have a lot of experience. Therefore, and this is also some kind of contributing my and or Gary Vee's strategy. We are just putting out as much content as possible, because the chance is much higher to have a very controversial or just viral going content if you're just producing more. It doesn't have anything to do with the quality. Quality of something is something subjective, and just having a lot of content is, at my point of view, pretty much key. Tricking the reader is tricking their readers is key. We've all heard the term clickbait before. Ryan explains that bloggers use clickbait to get page views and generate more income. Clickbait is essentially using an emphasizing article headline that is usually extremely misleading to trick their readers into following the link and reading their post. Ryan explains that in these cases, the readers often reach the page only to find out it's not quite what they expected, and they will likely leave slightly disappointed. However, their visit to the page is enough to generate the income the bloggers need. Ryan recommends you treat bloggers the same way they treat their readers. Give them a sense of mystery, and they will be more enticed to listen to what you have to say. Approach bloggers with these same questions and the same sense of mystery and watch as they do the same to their readers. And this is totally something you should never fucking do. And these are just these character traits I would never tell somebody to be like. Never ever. Because this doesn't make any sense to me. I'm always like, I just want to tell the truth. I just want to be me. I just want to be the nice person. I just want to be nice to the people because first of all, this is who I am, and I do understand this is who you should be as well. I'm not saying, okay, not everybody's just, nice because he's born like being nice and, he's born with, a lot of sense of empathy or, all these great things. But having these traits, at my point of view, is just really contributing to your life because dealing with people is just 80% of your success, as Dale Carnegie in his book How to Win Friends and Influence People just said. And I quite believe in it because just how you deal with people, how you talk with people, how you talk to people, how you just interact with people, if you're nice to them, if you show empathy, if you're just a really fucked up person with them or to them or whatever, this just really plays into your success. If you're just a really unlikable person also in terms of your boss or whatever or whomever you're talking with, this is totally something that could kill your fucking success at my point of view. So clickbait, to some degree I would say okay, it's okay. Definitely not when it's misleading. If there is totally something different in the YouTube video or in the post than what's actually going on in it. So sell so they can then sell. Even since the beginning of online media, the rules have changed. Bloggers used to be looking for loyal readership, and they aim to always be authentic and true to their followers. However, these days, blogs don't rely heavily on a subscription model, and RSS is becoming less and less common. Every individual blog is essentially fighting for the same attention in the same place and is willing to do whatever they can to reach their readers. This is actually something that I've quite heard often. This is actually something I didn't always realize. This was something that I quite thought about, like, okay, who the fuck is doing that? Because I don't understand it. Why would I just, tell great stories because I get, a lot of money through it? What will I do with the money? What would I do with the money if I do just have this thought into my mind that I'm actually shitting on people, that I actually just, maybe through controversy, just making some people's lives or some person's life very, very miserable. If there's some celebrities and you're leaking some shit, and this is totally something that you could fuck their life with, and this is something you should be just, conscious about. Whatever you're putting out there, this is just kind of a reflection of yourself, and you're just pretty much showing, okay, you're a shitty person. And who the fuck wants to be a shitty person? Okay, there's money and okay, there's a lot of wealth and, a status because you have, 10,000 visitors on your fucking blog. Why? How could you live with that? This doesn't make any fucking sense. For me, at least. I understand people that are doing this because money is something that's essential, but money without happiness and money with kind of the feeling of being a person that always fucked with other people, it's just really breaking my heart and brain. So give them the ammunition to do this: sensationalism, extremism, sex, scandal, and hatred. Wow. Killer headlines. First impressions are everything. We know this. And Ryan explains that Headlines are blogs' versions of a first impression. The goal with any headline is to encourage as many clicks as possible, help bloggers nail the headlines, and you can guarantee traffic to your content. It's not worth publishing information that doesn't translate into an effective and clickbaitable headline. So it is not worth publishing information that doesn't translate into effective and clickable headline. And this is also something I will always totally say, okay, just put out as much content as possible. Do not be like, okay, this is not something that will be shared or whatever. You will never ever know. These are some things, yeah, totally. You can some kind of know, but I think on the the big picture, no, totally not. Page views are king. I think I'm very, very looking forward to the second section of this book, because I quite feel like he's just kind of laughing himself about these things. I'm not saying that these are wrong; these are totally right, and this is the problem about it. But in such a way, you can always do things in two ways: in such an extreme way that it is really fucking with people, and in such a way that it is really just helping people. There are always two ways, most of the time at least. So yeah. So again, Ryan emphasized the pressure on bloggers to produce as much content as possible every single day. And this often means more than one post per day, and understandably, this gets hard. When a blog posts your story, share it on your own personal and business social media sites to boost the traffic. By doing this, the bloggers will see the stats, realize your story was popular, and are more likely to write about you again. Ryan mentions that there are ways to essentially buy fake traffic and send it to the post. This is something that I've never thought about, but I think this couldn't actually be a negative way or a negative point, because only you're just sharing the content that is actually kind of written about you, if it's something positive and if it's something you haven't paid for. If some people are just maybe Forbes or Inc.com or whomever is writing about you, if these people are just writing about you, then why wouldn't you just share it as well to get as much traffic on this that your fan base is actually seeing this. I think this is pretty normal. I think this would actually make sense. But I think this is actually it with this episode. I'm still quite feeling if I should actually go through this again, if I should actually just talk about this again. I do just always emphasize, and this is something that's important for me, that some of these things that are staying in here aren't pretty much true. And I will always point these things out because that's important for me. Therefore, I'm just thinking, okay, is it okay to really post this right now, or should I actually discard this? I have actually kind of recorded this, so this would take a lot of time if I record it again. But I've always said, okay, this is not something that I think is true, and or in some way you can do this, and so on and so on and so on. And therefore, I think it is okay to some point of view. So I think this is it. I will definitely, post it and see, okay, if this is something I can live with. If not, and I will just let this episode be the episode and start with something different tomorrow, totally. But I do not want to discard it only because I think, this is something that, but I still think, okay, listening to your gut is important and being like, okay, but I will also totally write it in the description and everywhere. So, maybe I definitely just make an episode before the actual episode to say, okay, it is important that that this is something that's kind of overdone, and this is not something that I particularly all the time would suggest you to do, but it is something like, a good negative example to not do it. And I will definitely say what I'm thinking about these things that are standing in this book, but there is another part of this book that I hope is just going to be somehow different and somehow just really kind of explaining it in the right way. And so to really kind of have a bridge between these parts that are actually in the first chapter and in the other chapters somehow connected, that I can actually be okay with it. But I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you get your wealth, health, happiness, and success done. don't forget to think about your legacy and giving back to people, because giving back to people is fucking key. And I'll see you the next time.